the agenda for tonight, advertising for sealed bids for the LSA program. Grant will be placed in the paper June 4th and June 11th, and we received at the Wyoming Borough Building until 10 a.m. on July the 2nd, 2019. Bids will be publicly open and read at the July 8th meeting.
So we have to change that. We were just told by Daryl that they'll be opened on the 2nd of the season, and then
They'll be open on the 2nd?
on the 2nd, and
Mark
then
that down.
at the meeting, it'll be announced.
And it'll be opening on the 2nd as well.
And then announced.
Announced on the July meeting, July 8th meeting.
Mhm.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Emergency Service Committee met with the EMS Services, Transmed, Commonwealth, Greater Pittston, West Wyoming. Council will meet and discuss the services used for the coming year. Wyoming Borough Council and our police officer would like to thank Brackney Leather for her donation of a printer to the police department. The residents have been coming to pay for their overdue sanitation fee. They had until June 14 to pay for citation, or a citation will be served. The paper shredding event for September the 12th will be held at Pettibone Park on Monument Street from 4 to 7 p.m. Wyoming Borough Council intends to transfer the Tyson property to host company number 1. Condition of the transfer will be the plaque to be erected in the building construction on the property, acknowledging that the land was donated by Nicholas and Cynthia Tylos. Motion will be made to transfer the Tyson property to the host company number 1. Stella Presbyterian Church donated a bicentennial flag for the 100th year anniversary. The new Recreation Board met May 30th. Officers are Roseanne Calaruso, President, Jim Tregan, Vice President, and Mary Scoble, Secretary Treasurer. The Fidelity Bank Recreation account has been updated with new signatures, 2 signatures required for any withdrawals. The Recreation Board will hold a flea market on June 23rd at the Flat Field. The cost of $20 for a 10-by-10 space. The board would also apply for a small games and chance license from Luzerne County to help with the fundraiser. Minutes from the meeting are on file at the Borough Building. The next meeting will be held on June 26th at 1 p.m. And the DMD sent a letter to the Borough requiring help with a parking situation in front of her dental office. She stated that parking spaces are always taken up by tenants from the apartments next door. Our patients, many of whom are handicapped, do not have places to park. She would like to know if it's possible to install a dental office parking only in front of her sign at her building at 25 East 8th Street. Motion will be needed to approve a request for Ann MacArthur for a dental parking sign only. She will be responsible for the cost. Wyoming Borough would like to thank the Wyoming Valley Pallet for the mulch they donate to the borough. And gentlemen, the solicitor. Any discussions on it?
Diane, would you fill us in on the meetings that you guys have with the EMS committee?
Yeah, we went and met with West Wyoming, Greater Pittston, Commonwealth, and Transmed. And they all gave us their basic fees, proposals, what they had to offer for the town. And West Wyoming, we know it doesn't have the full coverage. They have coverage just from 6 a.m. to midnight. They're volunteer. Greater Pittston has round the clock, 6 vehicles, and ambulances in Jenkins Township and Exeter. Commonwealth is a nonprofit. They're accept all insurances, but it's, you know, what your insurance pays. I don't know exactly how detailed they get. Transmed is basically, they offer a plan too, like a fee for a household or an individual. I think Commonwealth is the only one that doesn't offer like a fee to pay. So, there's, Greater Pittston had a lot of pluses as far as, water rescue. They had tents for the firemen, with heaters in it, if there's a fire. They had 40 paid personnel. So, you know, there was a lot on their end to offer. I thought that they had a good presentation when they were here.
Yeah, they were good.
They
And then-
also have advanced medical support all the time when it comes, like West Wyoming doesn't even have an ALS, which is advanced life support, whereas Pittston has advanced life support all the time. It doesn't have to be dispatched as such. They come automatically as advanced life support. Again, they have their membership fees were, from them would be 35, let me just look at this 1 second.
35 for individual, 40 for family, 25 for senior.
Right, and $30 for senior individuals, senior couples $40. And again, they accept all the insurances, and they don't go after anything after that.
So,
The recommendation of the committee is,
And from what I've reheard, I recommended Pittston, I believe everybody else did too, the other people, we discussed it quite a bit.
And also Pittston, they would honor our, if we did do this, they would honor our, what the residents paid already. So, we wouldn't pay
And they
any, they
do-
wouldn't have to pay anything out until the next membership.
And
Drive
they do
is
have
open.
a station in Exeter 24/7 that's manned all the time. They're the closest of anybody, other than West Wyoming, but again, West Wyoming doesn't even have 24/7 coverage, they just don't have it. It's only 18 hours, midnight to 6 PM, they're not in service. When you would call in, they would have to send it to someone else, and again, they don't have advanced life support at all. The other one, which one, they have the ambulance in Luzerne, which I feel is just a little bit too far, Transmed. And like I say, Pittston has it right in Exeter, which is not far at all.
So does that mean we're not using West Wyoming at all?
Only if, what do they call, not standby, but if the other one was busy. I don't know how they go down, for sure. But West Wyoming, from what we went over in the presentation, it was not good, Frank. It just wasn't.
when are you guys recommending we make the switch then?
I would recommend Pittston. If there's any questions want to come from anyone out there that we can possibly answer, that'd be fine, but from what we went over, it seems like Pittston is excellent. The other thing they've got is, like Diane had mentioned, if there is a fire and the fireman it's bitterly cold, they'll actually put up tents and come and so that they can use it, or none of the other people offer that at all. Not that that's gonna happen, but they do offer it.
they have a lot more
And the
side
equipment
things.
they have is excellent. We went over the equipment they have. It's positively fantastic.
They brought their truck,
Yeah.
we went down there and.
So I guess my question is, if you guys are saying that they'll honor, are you guys talking about doing this now?
I would,
Like immediately?
I'd like to see Pittston take over tomorrow, as of noon. That would be my,
ASAP.
after what I heard a little bit this weekend from West Wyoming, I wasn't happy, so.
Mr. Lombardo,
Yes, sir.
would you come up here a
And I
second?
talked to Mr. Lombardo too, and they're,
If
they're,
we were to go with Pittston, how soon could you take over?
immediately.
Immediately?
The second.
Right.
I mean, the reality is we're covering the vast majority of their calls
Anyway, yeah.
right now, so it really wouldn't be much of a change for us.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
How would that work with the fees, Mike? When would we have to pay you like
Notify
the,
the call center.
The borough doesn't have to pay us anything at any time.
oh, no, I'm talking the individuals,
When the enrollment would go out again at
Like
the
you
end of the
say,
year.
if you take over, how would that work?
We would send it out when the current draft is concluded, which I understand is September. We would send it out probably in late August and sync it up.
But right now you would cover us
We would just
without.
honor what's
Okay.
already out there, which is frankly what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
No, apparently you guys put on a good presentation, so
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was outstanding, top
Thank you
notch.
very much, Mike.
My pleasure.
Thank you, guys. The only other thing I wanted that's not on the agenda. Our borough for a while has not had a police chief. I think we need it. I think we need to bring that back, for morale, for the borough. I know we're going through the EIP process. I confirm that they're not opposed to us bringing back a chief, maybe one of their recommendations as well, once we get the full report. So I would ask you guys to consider bringing a vote. My recommendation, obviously I just listened to your guys' recommendation, the EMS committee regarding that, support you 100%. My recommendation would be for Officer Merkovich, who's been with the borough for decades, to be appointed chief of police. So I would ask that council make a motion and
I'd make a motion for that. I'd make a motion for,
No, you can't have-
Not right now, not until
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
meeting.
because I like it.
Yeah, but give me first chance to do it then.
One of the only other things I have just for, the work session, I got chief ambulance. There's a lot of properties throughout the borough with overgrown grass now this time of year. Did have a conversation with Harry Smith with, zoning, and basically we're gonna work hand in hand. The police department's gonna help him out. He's gonna send us some paperwork that basically we could stamp on someone's door, we'll have the officers take a picture, send it over to him in email, and then he can enforce it if it's not taken care of. So we'll try to get some of that stuff cleaned up as well in the near future. And then that's all I have. Do you guys have anything else for work session?
Speaking of York, if anybody has no property in the alleys, they have to take care of the alleyways. Anything else, Leanne?
Jeff, in the alleys, they don't own it, a lot of it. Isn't a lot of that still in
The
the?
only alleys we actually own, I didn't want to interrupt you, but the
No.
ones we paved, the ones that were paved up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We own them all, but,
Okay.
they abandoned most of them. Half of them have been taken by private individuals.
Right,
with
I know.
Which they're not supposed to do.
silent
Yeah,
time-
but like,
silent-
that's it. Are they supposed to take that, or that's supposed to be open all the time, these
Yes.
alleys?
Well. a
Isn't
lot of
that part of the
it-
Keystone
Even like
Estate
the
though,
grass
or,
alleys.
Kehoe Estate yet, or no, the alleys?
The grass alleys are supposed to be wide open. And they did that for reasons of if they had a fire issue, that in the back of the home, that they would be able to get in there.
The real reason was they had coal shanties years
Exactly.
ago in the back of
Okay.
the houses, and they dumped the coal through the back alleyways.
Okay,
I
but,
think Golden State owns all the alleys.
That's pitiful, yes.
They actually own
So,
all the alleys, except the ones
they still own them?
I believe so, yeah. It's not the borough that owns them. Cause I know a couple of individuals, Sorcelli and, the other individual actually went down, filed and had to buy it.
On the title, yeah.
Yeah, they actually bought it, yeah,
There were 4 or 5 of them, Jeff.
right.
We tried to put it into that.
Yes.
So we should keep the alleys clear?
They should, you would think they would anyway, for crying out loud, yeah.
Like, what if they don't?
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know,
that's
I don't
What
know
if
what you
there's
can do
cars
to them.
parked in the alleys?
I don't know what you can do to them.
You can actually have them moved.
Towed?
You can have them moved, if they have cars parked in the alley.
Oh, I thought you meant just maintaining it.
No.
Yeah, if you have cars parked there, yeah, have them moved.
But they have to maintain them.
I guess so.
Yes.
I don't know, they don't belong to anybody though. It's not the individuals, it's like, it's not Wyoming Borough. It's the Pettibone Estate still owns it.
Is there an ordinance?
So
Is there an ordinance that we have to keep
I
it?
believe there is, yes. Yes, I'm positive one.
Okay. Probably like a tree lawn.
It's just like your tree on your sidewalk, you have to
Yeah.
maintain it. You don't know,
Right.
it belongs to the borough.
Right.
Is anybody having any problem with their alleys? They're not open. People are parking in them. You do?
Been going on for years. of money to find out that it's not supposed to be blocked, period,
Right.
and it's still been blocked. You know, it's been going on, it's gonna stop.
They actually use the borough stuff to block.
Majority of people don't do that, so I figure the rest of the people shouldn't do it. It's gonna come to a stop.
Mike, can I jump into this?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Because I have a grassy alleyway next to my house. And I used to maintain it, but honestly, when you have people that, and don't get me wrong, I love dogs, I've had dogs in the past, but people that walk dogs not on a leash, and don't pick up after them. I mean, why is the general purpose why a person takes a dog for a walk? So we go to the business, I don't know, property. So when you have people that are walking dogs without a leash, you don't have control over them, and they can go anywhere. So why would you want to maintain certain areas when people are going to take advantage of it, and it ends up stinking like, you know what?
Yeah.
I brought this issue up before, a couple months ago, I was talking with a couple of you after one of the meetings. It's like, what is the dog ordinance in town? If we have one.
I thought they weren't supposed to be on a leash.
That's either a state law or a federal law, I believe.
State law.
Right. But if people are doing it constantly, and they're getting away with it, and they're trampling over everybody else's property,
We'll try to look into it as a council and see if we could do something with those. I mean, to maintain those alleys, and that people don't own them, that's a little bit hard. I mean, if they don't own the alleys,
Well, what actually happens, their trees are in their own yard, and the trees are growing over the fences and blocking the alleys out.
okay.
That's what it actually is.
We'll have to talk about that in the future. I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
And if you don't maintain your own alley behind your house, you're gonna have rodents and everything else living in it, the grass grows up.
Yeah, if the grass grows that high, nobody could drive, you
Well,
can't
we have
get
a
it through.
situation on Seventh Street right now with the problem, the grass is growing high.
Yeah. Just want to make a comment on Stella Presbyterian Church over in 40 Fort donated a flag to Wyoming Borough. It was from our 100-year anniversary, and so it's sitting right there, and it's really a nice flag, and so they donated it and said, here, this is for Wyoming, so if you open that up, it's really, really nice.
The other way.
Oh.
Nice.
They donated that, so we could probably hang it up somewhere around here, and it looks really nice.
Right in front of the building.
Yeah, wherever.
One last thing before we get started too, I know you guys all remember Benjamin Shell, the gentleman who came in a while back and was talking about doing this Eagle Scout project. He did end up obviously going with a different project with someone else, but he did end up getting his Eagle Scout, so I think that's pretty commendable for someone in our borough to achieve that goal. So I'm gonna be sending out a letter of accommodation for them. So I saw his parents the other day.
the West Wyoming Recycling for Wyoming Borough is closed as of July the 6th. Any other towner will be cited for illegal use of the compost pile and cited with a fine up to $3,000. 300, I'm sorry, 300.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. So I kind of like. They weren't out of it, just yet.
Yeah, and they're right down the road, and they pump on 24/7.
There's just no,
It's no brainer.
the only one that came close was,
Transmit, I think
Transmit.
transmit.
or transmit.
Yeah.
He said, right down the road, you gotta think of, as a life. And he says, if you jump on the bottom. I'm not gonna pay that much. You got, it's no brainer.
And they were like, they were stars when they came here.
Transmit wasn't bad either, right? You know, transmit, I think was something.
And then, exactly,
And then,
yeah. But so like what I'll just say, after I read that to say, we're gonna make a motion tonight to,
when Greater Pittston is our EMS
Yeah.
service effective.
July 1st.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. I have 20 minutes.
Wyoming Borough Council meeting for agenda for July the 10th, June the 10th, 2019 will come to order. Face the flag of our country, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roseanne, roll call, please.
Malavego?
Present.
Mr. Yurman?
Here.
Mr. Beloga?
Present.
Mr. Lipsky?
Present.
Smiles?
present,
Mr. Schultz?
Here.
Mr. Dominic?
Here.
Kelly Anderson's absent.
Roseanne. The minutes from May 2019 meeting are available for review at the Borough office. The minutes are approved by motion made by Mr. Beloga, seconded by Mr. Yurick. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Reports of the Police Department, Street Commission, and Code Enforcement Office for the month of May 2019 have been submitted and placed on file for public inspection. Reports in committee, Finance and Grants, Mrs. Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Advertisements for sealed bids for the LSA program grant will be placed in the paper on July 4th and June 4th and June 11th, and will be seated at the Borough Building until 10 a.m. on July 2nd and opened on the 2nd. Bids will be announced at the July 8th meeting. That's it in my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Emergency Service, Police and Fire Departments, Mrs. Miles.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Emergency Service Committee met with 4 EMS services, Transmed, Commonwealth, Greater Pittston, and West Wyoming. Council will meet and discuss the service for use in the coming year, which we did. And we are going to make a motion to recommend appoint Greater Pittston as our ambulance service as of tomorrow. Okay. Also, Wyoming Borough Council and our police officers would like to thank Brackney Leather for their donation of a printer to the police department. And I'm also going to make a motion, since the position of Chief of Police is going to be considered for the Borough of Wyoming, to appoint Donnie Noble, since he is highly recommended by his fellow police officers. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Miles. Health and Sanitation, Mr. Yurick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Residents have been coming in to pay their overdue sanitation fees. They have until June 14th to pay before a citation is served. Also, Mr. Chairman, a paper shred event for September 12th, 2019 will be held at Pettibone Park on Monument Avenue from 4 to 7. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Yurek. Personnel, Mr. Lipsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, there is nothing to report.
Thank you, Mr. Lipsky. Public property, Mr. Yurek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wyoming Borough Council intends to transfer to solely property to the Wyoming Host Company Number 1. A condition of this transfer will be that the plaque be erected in the building constructed on the property acknowledging that the land was donated by Nicholas and Cynthia Tassoli. Motion will be needed to transfer the solely property to Host Company Number 1. Stella Presbyterian Church donated a bicentennial flag for the 100th anniversary. And also, Mr. Chairman, the new Recreation Board met on May 30th. Officers are Roseanne Colarusso, President, Jim Tragan, Vice President, Mary Sobel, Secretary Treasurer. The Fidelity Bank Recreation account has been updated with the new signatures and with the new signers. 2 signatures will be required for any withdrawals. And the Recreation Board will be holding a flea market on June 23rd at the Flack Field with the cost of $20 per 10 by 10 space. The board has also applied for a small game of chance license from Luzerne County in order to help with fundraisers. Minutes from the meeting are on file at the Borough Building. The next meeting will be held on June 26th at 1 p.m. That's the end of my report,
Thank
Mr.
you, Mr.
Chairman.
Yurek. Also on the Recreation Board, I look for volunteers, so if anybody wants to volunteer, see Roseanne or Jim or Mary. Thank you. Sewers and Public Works, Mr. Yurek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Ann McDonough, DMD, sent a letter to the borough requesting help with a parking situation in front of her dental office. She stated that parking spaces are always taken up by tenants from the apartment building next door. Her patients, many of them being handicapped, do not have a place to park. She would like to know if it would be possible to install a dental office parking only sign in front of her building. Motion will be needed to approve and request for Ann for a dental office parking only sign. She will be responsible for the cost. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman. Oh, I'm sorry, one more. Wyoming Borough would like to thank Wyoming Valley Pallet for the mulch they donated to the borough. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Yurek. Zoning and Planning, Mr. Bova.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 things. The high grass, people must cut their grass in Wyoming. There are a number of residents that aren't cutting them. And so if anybody knows any places where it needs to be cut, you could see one of the officers, call the police. And number 2, we want you to stay out of the alleys. Don't block the alleys. And that's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bova. The only thing I have is a exclusive report that says all property has been transferred over to the borough. The floor is open to the public. Mrs. Calandra.
Oh, you got it right.
Thank you.
First, I would just like to thank all our servicemen and women for everything they have done through the years. But I've taken notice throughout the borough, a lot of towns, they honor our servicemen and women with banners. I would like to know if it would be possible if Wyoming can do that, but instead of having our servicemen and women present and past, I feel that we should do it for the police officers, firefighters, EMS, past and present. I've talked to a lot of people in different communities, and they think it's a fantastic idea. There is not one borough that has anything like that.
Mrs. Calandra, there are a lot of boroughs having that all the way up the line. Exeter just started.
Oh, no, I know that, with our
Okay.
servicemen and women.
Yes.
But I'm talking about having the banners with our emergency personnel, like the firemen, the police officers,
But what actually happens, the people that donate, they have to pay for them things themselves, it's not the borough's responsibility.
I know it isn't.
I think it's
You-
$350 or $325 a person, so,
It's somewhere around there.
yeah. It was in the
And then
paper, it
it's
says-
$25 each year for the first 3 years.
I really don't know, it has to be.
Yeah,
looked into.
because I have gathered information, and it seems like our EMS workers, they're kind of like being ignored. And I don't think that's fair to them, and I think it would be a very nice tribute. So something to think about.
We'll look into it and see what happens
I,
in the end.
I can gather more information.
Whatever you can
I
gather,
have
like,
contact with someone.
I'll work together with you and get to see what's happening.
Great, okay,
So we'll
thank
see what the cost is and put it out to the people if they want to do it, and we get enough.
Well, I know the way things are today, you can't just come up with money like that. So I thought if we did like an installment of X amount of money and break it over after the final payment, then we would get that flag and have that flag put up.
I'll find out where it's being done at, and I'll get together with you, we'll find out what the cost is, plus these things you have to put.
Right,
all over
and
the
you
place.
want the better ones, you don't want the cheap ones, because they're not gonna
They're only gonna last a
stand
year
the
or two,
weather,
right.
correct. So you do want the better ones,
I'll-
but I just thought I'd approach
Very good
council with that.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tom Solange? Solange, I'm sorry.
Large and don't call me late for dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the fire report for, Station 191, Wyoming Hose Company 1. For the month of May, we had 3 motor vehicle accidents in town. We had 3 wires down calls in town. We had 1 commercial fire alarm activation in town and 2 in Exeter. We had 1 public assist in Wyoming. We had 1 EMS assist in Wyoming. We had 1 multiple occupancy structure fire in Exeter. We had 1 drill, which was at the Wyoming Area High School. We had 1 residential fire alarm activation in Wyoming. We had 1 residential structure fire in Exeter, for a total of 5 runs in Wyoming and 5 in Exeter, for a total of 15 responses for the month.
Very good job, thank you.
Thanks.
Bob Rozell?
I guess this sort of relates to what Tom was just report, but, June 1st, about 8, 9 o'clock, a tree came down, brought right down to my house between 1st and 2nd Street on Susquehanna Avenue. And I figured it was hitting the windshields on vehicles. It was ready to storm again, so I figured I'd call a non-emergency to 911. And I said, maybe you can send a police cruiser or somebody gets hurt or drives through it. It wasn't 5 minutes, Wyoming Hose Company number 1 was here. Wyoming Hose Company number 2, West Wyoming was there, and Jimmy with his crew came down, the DPW guys. And Mac Grantke, Danny Zavada was there. They cut that tree up and everything. An excellent job, I just want to say. People don't, some things they complain about, but the help was excellent. The personnel was great, okay? And another a little special thank goes out to Jerry Walsh, because he was on mosquito control with the cigar.
Thank you, Bob. John Avansky?
We used to work hard.
Hello, members of council, mayor. As you guys know, my name's John Urbanski. I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak right now. I understand that there's going to be 2 motions tonight, one to appoint Mr. Noble as the chief, and the other one to appoint Chris Markovich as the chief. I'm here speaking as 8 years of experience working with Chris Markovich. 1, when he was my supervisor, and secondly, him as my coworker now. I want you all to listen to this, so when you make your decision, you can see how much of a great and experienced man Chris Merkovich is. I first started my police career here in Wyoming Borough when I was just 18 years old. I mean, I couldn't even tie my shoes, that's how young I was. At that time though, Chris Merkovich, he took me under his wing for 6 months. He taught me the basics of what it was to be a police officer. He taught me the basics of what it was to be involved with Wyoming Borough. And I am still so invested in this borough after 8 years. When I heard that Chris Merkovich may be the chief tonight, that I decided to step up to speak in support because of my admiration for the man. He was my captain at the time, and he has over 30 years of experience as a police officer. For the record, I'm 27 years old. This man has been out there serving the residents of Wyoming Borough before I even stepped foot in this building. With that experience does come wisdom, and it comes with knowledge. A lot of those were personal lessons that Chris taught me over the years. There are 2 lessons that Chris taught me over the years. These lessons are dedication to your town and your citizens, as shown by his experience, and his perseverance. There were many times that I would question Chris about things and the way things were turning out within life and how it would go. And there was one thing that he always pointed out to me. Through his actions, he showed that you persevered through even the hardest of things. And Chris went through a lot of difficulties. He went through some hard times, he went through some good times. And now here he is now, about to be the leader. Hopefully, you will all agree with me that he will be the leader of Wyoming's police department. I personally don't think I would have been able to stuck it out as well as Chris did. But the man's a walking lesson, at least in my eyes, to show what exactly happens if you persevere and do the right thing. I will tell you this, as being a police officer in this area, I don't want to talk about any history with any towns or anything like that. I do want to say this, though, that I believe that Chris, when he becomes the police chief here under your guidance, that he will rebuild a stronger police department for Wyoming Borough and its citizens that will serve the interests of the citizens themselves. I would like to point out for everyone, if you can all turn around, look at all these officers. These are medical professional, fire personnel, other police officers, not just from Wyoming Borough, past and present, but from all the surrounding towns. We are all standing here in solidarity with because we want to be here to see a person who is a mentor to many of us back there become your chief of police. I stand here to give my support for this man 100%, because this man has been not only a leader in my life, but he's been a role model in my life. And he has taught me the basics, not only of knowledge of being a police officer, but taught me the morals and code and what it truly means to not just be a cop, but how to serve as one.
That's the bother.
On the brighter side here too, if you remember last year, we tried to get fire hydrant adapters through the COG, and that didn't go our way, unfortunately. With the Westside Mutual Aid, with the help of Aaron Coffer, we secured a $136,000 grant through the LSA, Pringle being the host town for us. We should have those probably within about a month or so. When they come, what they are, they're adapters that go on the hydrants. So whatever town comes in to assist us, or whatever town we go out to assist, it's a universal hose adapter that hooks up to the hydrant in 5 seconds. We did have a trouble earlier on in the year, and we don't have to worry about that now. When they do come in, they'll be dropped off at our station, Wyoming number 2. I already talked with Jimmy and his crew and with us. When they do come in, hopefully within a day or so, we'll have them hooked up in the borough for us.
In the whole borough.
All 54, yeah. Okay. Private hydrants and the borough hydrants, yes. So with that, we're also going to get fire markers to put on the hydrant for inclement weather or snow conditions. They'll be on there. And we're getting hydrant wrenches, new adapters, wrenches for the adapters. I did talk to AJ from number one, I told him about them, so when they come in, I'll get them out to him as well. And I just wanted to let everybody know, we did at Wyoming Hose Company number 2, it was our first ever. We had our scholarship program through Wyoming area, and we did award 2 students from Wyoming area their first scholarship with us, and hopefully if funding stays how it is, it'll be able to be an annual event for the kids of Wyoming.
That's great.
Okay? Thank you.
No, would you like to speak? Would you like to speak? Well, let's communicate.
Hold on a second, hold on a second. Just wanted to recognize 2 individuals here. One is Mike Fuller in the back, he was a former officer. The other one is Chris Merkovitz. These 2 people went through so much in Wyoming Borough, which they should have never went through. So, you are very good police officers, and we do appreciate your service to this. And we do appreciate your, that you hung in there. We do appreciate that.
Solicitor communications received since the last meeting have presented to council and accepted the motion made by Mr. Beloga, seconded by
I'll do it.
Mrs. Smiles. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it, so moved. List of bills paid and received for payments have been presented to council and accepted by motion made by Mr. Beloga again,
I'll second it.
Mr. Schultz. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it, so moved. Motion to be voted on. A motion made to approve a dental office parking only for 25 East 8th Street as per Ann McDowell requested. She will be responsible for the full cost of the sign.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Schultz.
No, Mr.
Beloga.
Beloga.
I'll second it.
Mr. Schultz, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it, so moved. Motion to approve the transfer of the Tulsa property to the Wyoming Host Company.
I'll make the motion.
Made by Mr. Beloga,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Schultz. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion to have the Pittston EMT to take over our services in Wyoming Borough immediately.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lipsky made the motion, seconded by
I'll second it.
Mr. Schultz. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it, so moved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Officer Chris Merkovich to Chief of Wyoming Borough.
I wanted to do that.
Oh, sorry. You can have it then.
You can second.
You can second.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to make Mr. Merkovich Chief of Police of Wyoming Borough. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays?
capable and deserving.
Can I say something now?
Sure, yes.
I'd like to introduce my kind of wife, Sherry, my daughter, First of all, son. All my brothers, sisters, that I appreciate the support. I just want to know I have to sacrifice myself right now. So,
Motion to adjourn?
The only thing I gotta add is, will the mayor or Roseanne contact 911 to make the change? Please?
I'd like to swear in Chief Markovich.
Oh, that sounds good.
I do solemnly swear, sorry, you go.
I do solemnly swear,
Or affirm that I will support,
or affirm I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.